Hi, Internet. Welcome to the Troyan YouTube channel. Here because, you saw the title of the video. Um, Ozzy Osbourne has passed away, and I'm sort of just shocked. I was literally just listening to some Ozzy last night. I just put some on my playlist. I'm like, yeah, I'm in the mood for some Ozzy. For as long as I have listened to music and been a music fan, I have been a fan of Ozzy. And so, as um as a younger as a younger fan of classic rock, I'm in my mid 30s. I've sort of gotten used to the fact that like all my heroes are slowly dying, and it's just like it just sort of comes with the territory. But for me, Ozzy is sort of just like he has just always existed. He's just always been there. He's just always been a staple, and so it's just really shocking because Ozzy's one of those figures like Lemmy and Keith Richards, where you're just like, oh, those guys are immortal, like nothing can stop them. Dio was another one of those musicians where you just think of them as immortal and just there's no way they're ever going to die. They're just always going to be. They've always been there. They'll always be there. And since the beginning of time, it feels like. Um, at least for my entire existence. So it's really just, it was shocking when I got the news, and it was so weird because I was actually just like, I was on a Ozzy binge last night. I was just listening to some stuff from the first three records, listening to some Sabbath, and just like also some like old like Headbangers Ball clips of like him and D. Snyder talking about Megadeth. Like I was just like, yeah, I was in the mood for some Ozzy last night, and to to see the news today, it's just like it's shocking. It's so as far as what this video is, just sort of like sharing general thoughts on Ozzy because this channel sort of shifted away from doing. It used to be kind of just a music reaction channel during the pandemic, and I did music reactions because I'm like, I've got nothing to do. I'm stuck at home. I'll do some music reactions. And the problem with doing music reactions is because I knew so much music, it was never a first time reaction. Like, oh, I know the song and I like it, so I was just terribly bad at reactions, and then they started getting blocked, so I basically stopped doing them. Except for Thin Lizzy Thursday, just to catalog the entire band history because I thought that'd be fun to do, and it'd be nice if there was something that cataloged every single song in the band's history. So, but Ozzy is one of my faves. I've loved Ozzy, like I said, since I became aware of music. Period. Like my dad had the first three had the first three records, and also Speak of the Devil. Um yeah, so like the live album, he had he had like a big stack of vinyl records. And I remember it was the first three records plus the Speak of the Devil live album plus the Black Sabbath We Sold Our Soul for Rock and Roll. So, and I wasn't really into that music when I was like a kid. It was only after I saw Kiss and then became a fan of rock music that I went back and learned to really appreciate those records. But I would play them on my dad's sound system, and just loved those records. And like I said, I've been a Ozzy fan of basically my entire music listening life since age 14. So date myself here. That's yeah, that is like 21 years of being a Ozzy fan. Um, and so Ozzy, he's an interesting character. I first became aware of Ozzy actually from the show The Osbournes. Funny enough, just because the generational thing, and that was in the era where I didn't understand why certain people were famous. Like the Osbournes were just like, who is this like weird guy who dresses in black and just swears all the time and just seems like he's on drugs? I didn't understand why this person was famous. I didn't understand why Tommy Lee was famous. I'm just like, this guy just looks like this really trashy dude. Why is he famous? I didn't understand why Paris Hilton is famous. You know, so and so I just grew up just like lumping them all sort of in the same category. It was like, why do these people have so much money? I don't understand it. And then it kind of trolled me when I actually started listening to Ozzy's music, put two and two together. It's like, oh man, his music is really freaking good. Wow, what a terrible first impression that show was, and how cringe of a first impression that was, to be introduced to him through this reality show that I didn't even watch. I just watched the commercials for, and just said, "Yep, I have no interest in this person." And then turns out, one of the goats of music. Musically, Ozzy is very interesting because he didn't really have a heavy metal voice, and I didn't think he really wanted to necessarily be a heavy metal singer. I think if you listen to his vocal phrasing and vocal style. Sorry, my cat is doing something chaotic over there, so I got distracted. But if you listen to the tonality of Ozzy's voice, I think he's really more of like a John Lennon kind of vocalist. Like his vocal style is very similar to to John Lennon in particular, and he's like a mega Beatles fan. I think his melodic sensibilities melodic sensibilities are very Beatles esque. I think he just sort of stumbled into doing heavy metal. But like given how every album has like the ballad or two, I think that he really appreciates that melodic side of things and just he's the Prince of Darkness, but also I think he definitely did have that soft side. And I think that duality is what allowed his music to shine in such a way where he had that Beatles-esque sensibility to his melodies, and then was doing just ripping dark evil, but not that evil of music that is like, I'm so evil, I'm a werewolf, you guys. Like, it wasn't really that evil, but for 70s and 80s America, it was like the most evil stuff in the world. But again, this is sort of just an unscripted video, just to say rest in peace, Ozzy. Love you, Ozzy. I was listening to your music yesterday. I'll be listening to your music today, and I went into the future. Like, not gonna, I was a fan before today, and I'll be a fan for as long as I live. It's just, it's it's shocking. So, and there's this thing where just like, oh, everybody has to, post a statement. There's this pressure in the social media age. Everyone's got to do a video. Everyone's got to do a statement. And I tend not to want to give into the pressure of that. But by that same token, like Ozzy has been such a pillar of my life for so many years where it's just everybody knows Ozzy. Everybody loves Ozzy. And so the thing is like Ozzy, I think is like my dad's like favorite artist. Um, and so I texted him about it, and he was just like in shock. So like it's just, again, I have like such vivid memories of pulling out those Ozzy records from my dad's record collection and playing them over and over and over again, and like getting into like the deep cuts, like Slow Down and So Tired, and just falling in love with Bark of the Moon so much. Like that was like my favorite of those first three records. And just yeah, it's a shock. It's sad, you know. But on the other hand, like, yo, Ozzy lived to what, 75? Ozzy lived to 75. Like, given that guy's lifestyle, like that is impressive. That is impressive. Like, come on, Ozzy had a great run. Should he have lived like, in the sideways eight? Should he have lived to infinity? Yes. I think we all agree Ozzy deserved to live to infinity. But living to 75, he still lived an amazing life. Again, it skews the lighting. Lighting's not great this time of day. It skews the hair. I just hopped out of the shower. Um, but yeah, rest in peace, Ozzy. We love you. And in the comments, let me know what your favorite Ozzy album is, be it Sabbath or solo. Just let me know your favorite Ozzy album. Rest in peace. Rest in peace to the Prince of Darkness. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Just shocking.